So what was the question again? Oh, why is it called the traffic jam? Well, you know, the reason is, it's because I have two really cool cars. Seriously cool cars. And I love drifting, racing, because I am fast and slick, and plus I like to create a bit of traffic jam myself with a whole lot of great music. Bulumnaka, my name is Real, your host and DJ, right here on the Today FM Traffic Jam every weekday from 3 p.m. to 7. Right here on Today FM, today's hit music.
Tonight, Prime Minister tells the UN Council that indigenous rights are protected in Fiji. Heroin import suspects plead not guilty. And FBC joins the search for Fiji's new flag. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and this is FBC News. Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama has told the United Nations Human Rights Council he is proud of Fiji's achievements on human rights issues and the rights of indigenous people. Bainimarama addressed the UN Council in Geneva last night. Eleanor Tarangaivu has more.
The Prime Minister told the high-level meeting the United Nations Declaration on Rights of Indigenous People does not readily apply to Fiji, as indigenous rights are protected under the 2013 Constitution. He says the declaration only applies to countries whose indigenous citizens have been and continue to be exploited, marginalized and dispossessed.
In stark contrast to other countries such as Australia and USA, for example, the colonial experience in Fiji was not one of large-scale dispossession of land and rights and marginalization of the indigenous people. Today, approximately 91% of all land in Fiji is owned through customary ownership by the indigenous people and cannot be permanently alienated under any circumstances.
Bainimarama went on to explain that through Fiji's peaceful and orderly transition to democracy, the human rights of every Fijian are guaranteed, giving special mention to the Free Water and Free Education Initiative.
I wish at this meeting to publicly invite the United Nations Special Rapporteur on the right to education to visit Fiji and report on the progress we are making.
The head of government says Fiji as a developing nation has never stood taller or prouder, nor is it more deserving of support from the international community, because Fiji has delivered the biggest human right of all, the right to equality, human dignity and justice for every citizen.
In a world driven by inequality, injustice and division, Fiji can hold its head high for what we have accomplished in such a short period of time, especially after decades of injustice and dysfunction. And it is against this background that I ask the global community to consider the merits of what we have achieved.
Fiji will soon ratify the United Nations Convention Against Torture, or UNCAT, just weeks after removing the death penalty from its laws. The Council is charged with upholding human rights, but Bainimarama urged it to give equal consideration to issues affecting the global community which don't yet have a solution, like climate change.
By far the biggest of this, for a small island developing country such as Fiji, is the collective failure of the global community to address the negative consequences of climate change. The repeated failure of the industrialized nations to curb their carbon emissions is a direct threat to the human rights of all of people living in vulnerable small island states like Fiji.
Bainimarama also alluded to actions by larger Pacific neighbors, urging the Council to consider the human rights position of refugees seeking asylum, but who have been rebuffed and resettled among Pacific people.
The impact of the policy of operating refugee camps in small island countries on local people as well as the refugees themselves deserves the closest scrutiny if the United Nations conventions have any relevance or significance at all. If human rights are universal, no country should be able to contract out an obligation to respect them, especially when dealing with the displaced, the vulnerable, and the children.
Bainimarama ended his address by informing the Council that Fiji is determined to improve its human rights record across the board. Eleanor Turangaiviu, FBC News.
The Fiji Broadcasting Corporation has joined the search for Fiji's new flag, with the national competition now underway. Sakyusa Naivua reports this is the company's contribution to coming up with a flag that is truly reflective of Fiji.
Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama announced a week ago that Fiji will have a new flag, one without the Union Jack. FBC wants to be part of the historic process along with its viewers and listeners.
FBC just launched a new flag design campaign yesterday. Basically, we are asking our viewers to send in their artwork on how or what they think should the new Fiji flag look like.
FBC's manager TV operations, Vinal Raj, says the Fiji flag campaign provides Fijian with the ideal opportunity to have their say on the design of the new flag. All the artwork can be dropped off at 69 Gladstone Road in Suva or emailed to fijiflag@fbc.com.fj.
The artwork receiving the most votes will be given the Viewers' Choice Awards, and the designs will be sent to the Fijian government for their consideration in inclusion of the elements or the designs in the flag.
FBC says it wants to ensure that the government receives as many submissions as possible and help with efforts to make our new flag all-inclusive and representative of the new Fiji. The government competition for a new design will close on May 1st, and the National Committee will go through entries before submission is made to Cabinet and then to Parliament. The current flag was adopted in 1970 following independence from Britain. Sakyusa Naivua, FBC News.
The Pacific Leaders meeting has been deferred indefinitely. The Australian High Commission in Suva says the Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott and Foreign Minister Julie Bishop have decided to defer the proposal to hold a Pacific Leaders meeting. After consultations with regional leaders, it was clear that proposed dates in the first quarter of 2015 did not suit everyone. Australia will be consulting further with Pacific Island countries in the coming months on options to strengthen regional architecture through the Framework for Pacific Regionalism. In October last year, Bishop's state visit here initiated discussions on the proposed meeting to discuss Fiji's concerns with the forum and its readmission to the regional body. Still to come on FBC News, HFC marks first anniversary as a commercial bank.
Bula FM nambandua na serena iwan siningaw na dibatara ni sibiti ko weekend na diwa en na tini na miniti na may pakuriti ora bengrabe na nantang nonongo kanda na dabiti ko anin rona kaloko en ay kabenden deva bili na taywa lim ni may dabiti ko na wani matakabo kan lim sarti ko na bisere talio ni na namaka do batiti ko may kina na kenan daw ro vi kanamaki Bula binaka ayo salamilawa do batiki ya wana batara na wani vio na kaloko moni fiki na barumbuka en Bula FM nambandua en serena
Welcome back. This is FBC News. 4 men accused of killing a carpenter from Nawaithomba in Nandi last year have had their case adjourned to June. Matayasi Ului, Maikeli Loko, Nandi businessman Rakesh Kumar and Vinod Segran allegedly murdered 49-year-old Vasudevan Naidu in April last year. They were released on bail last month and had pleaded not guilty to the charge. All 4 men had been in custody for close to 10 months before being released under strict bail conditions in February. They'll reappear in court on June 5th. Providing dental services in rural areas has been a challenge for a while now, but the Health Ministry is on the case. National Consultant Oral Health Dr. Joan Lal says rural dwellers have always been at a disadvantage when it comes to dental care. Savara Tambor reports.
Dental care is an important health service that shouldn't be ignored. But until now, access hasn't been readily available for all.
Usually they are disadvantaged. Those in the rural areas, in the islands, those small islands, they do not have access to services. So one of the things that we really need to concentrate on, the Ministry of Health, is not only looking at those people in the urban areas, but also getting to the people in the rural areas, isolated areas, the vulnerable people, those who do not have any economic privileges. We are doing that, but we can do more.
Dr. Joan Lal says very few people are using the dental services at health centers and hospitals, where children under the age of 15 get free treatment. She urges more parents and guardians to make use of the opportunity because poor dental hygiene can have dangerous repercussions later on in life.
The ministry and the government, they provide a lot of services. A lot of services are free. Our children below the age of 15 get free treatment. Everything is free. Overseas, you will not get that. But we in Fiji are more laid back. We are not taking advantage. We are not making sure that our children brush their teeth. We're giving them all sorts of snacks, and that is not good.
Maritime islands like the Lau Group, Yasawas and other distant locations from the mainland are the priority areas with now. The Ministry of Health will also make sure dental equipment is also readily available. Sabera Tambua, FBC News.
Fiji's efforts, as reflected in the Beijing Platform for Action 20 years ago, haven't progressed as desired. This came to light as Fiji prepares for the 59th session of the Commission on the Status of Women. Shireen Latu reports this will be one of the key issues discussed next week.
Pacific Island Forum Secretariat Gender Advisor Seema Naidu says progress in promoting gender equality and the empowerment of women is not on par with other countries.
That will mean that there's more need for support, more direct financing, more cooperation and partners coming together to ensure that they're able to really accelerate their efforts on all the 12 areas.
This year marks the 20th anniversary of the 4th World Conference on Women and adoption of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action.
It basically is the largest and unique gathering that takes place every year to discuss at the intergovernmental level, so between member states, the status of gender equality and women's rights in the world.
FemLink Pacific Executive Director Sharon Bhagwan Rawls was part of the government delegation to Beijing 20 years ago. She says the Pacific has expertise in terms of women who are able to speak on various issues, and this is the legacy we should carry forward.
As we go to CSW 59, I'm really glad to see that we have so many more young women of all diversities traveling with us, being part of this journey.
Miki Wali from FemLink Pacific will be one of the representatives from the civil society organization in the upcoming 59th CSW.
What we'll be bringing forth is a statement, along with our other Pacific Islands feminist sisters, a statement and a call to action of what are some of our key priority areas are here in the Pacific as young women. Because
the Commission on the Status of Women will take place at United Nations headquarters in New York from March 9th to the 20th. Shireen Lata, FBC News.
Good customer relations has been the key to success of Fiji's only locally owned bank, Home Finance Company. Celebrating its first anniversary as a commercial bank, HFC says they've set the benchmark pretty high. Akusita Tale has more.
HFC's growth and success has been credited to customer confidence in a local bank which pours money back into Fiji.
We have attracted a lot of customers. Also, what we are trying to send to the people of Fiji is that we are a local bank, owned by the people of Fiji. And we want to go into partnership with the people of Fiji. We want to ensure that we look after our client base, providing products and services that they want.
From humble beginnings as a financial institution with only 80 staff, HFC has grown from strength to strength. It now employs 165 people. The journey hasn't been easy.
People of Fiji are accepting us as a bank, I think because of the stigma of what happened before with the National Bank of Fiji. You know, it's always at the back of people's mind. And that's probably what we want to disprove or take out and say, look, we are not like that.
Apart from the usual banking services, HFC says it will continue to create more wealth for future generations and contribute to the overall development of the nation. Tikondondua says more awareness is still needed.
What we see is there's a lot of opportunity out there in the market. Awareness, that is one place that we really will continue to address, so that the people of Fiji know that we are also providing the same service that the banks are providing now.
HFC, recognizing its social responsibility, also sponsors sports development and numerous community projects that help the underprivileged. Akosita Talei, FBC News.
We turn to sports now. Here's Jamie with the latest.
Good evening. Coming up, Koowarta Exiles target strong showing at Fiji Petromara Sevens and sponsorship to boost development of Nasinu Netball Association. We'll have this and more after the break.
बॉलीवुड हीरो पंती रे Get this.
हीरो सपना दिखेला बंद करो।
क्या करो यार, सबको आती नहीं, मेरी जाती नहीं। मिर्ची मस्त मॉर्निंग में हूँ अश्निल सिंह।
हाय, मैं हूँ काजल।
शामिल हो जाए हमारे साथ मंडे टू फ्राइडे
6 AM to 9 AM।
मिर्ची FM, it's hot।
The Big Buller Water Park Koowarta Exiles team is aiming for a strong finish at the Fiji Petromara Sevens this week. Making its debut this year, team officials say the side is eager to experience the adrenaline of the nation's biggest sevens tournament. Josephine Navula reports.
Founded by the late Maleli Kunavore, the Big Buller Water Park Koowarta Exiles team has now stepped up a notch by featuring for the first time ever at the Fiji Petromara Sevens. The team has been going through some serious training and management say they are ready for the tournament.
We have actually been camping at Sikituru Village Hall for the last 2 weeks, preparing for the Mari Sevens. The support has been tremendous. We are overwhelmed by what the villagers have been doing for us and what our sponsors, Big Buller Water Park, has been doing for us. And we believe we should be ready when we get to the Mari Sevens.
This week, the team has been working on improving their mistakes from the Matintar Sevens last weekend.
We need to minimize on mistakes like drop balls, and we need to utilize the opportunities we get. In the final of the Shield competition at the Matintar Sevens, we were playing for the whole second half with 7 players. Nawaka were playing with only 6 players, and we could not score tries. So those are some of the things that we need to work on to win games.
The team sponsors say their passion for the sports has seen them back the side.
Just tried to, get them to play a few more tournaments because that's what it's all about for me. I think the love of rugby in Fiji is a fantastic feeling that I get when I go and watch games, and certainly meet the players as well.
The team has produced former national reps such as Sailosi Rombanangida, Mitieli Nadangilebu and Nasoni Kunavore over the past few years. The hope is this current crop of players will follow suit at the Mari Sevens. Josephine Navula, FBC Sports.
The Papua New Guinea women's sevens side has pulled out of this week's Fiji Petromara Sevens. The team is currently plagued with injuries and travel arrangements were not favorable for the side. Meanwhile, Coca-Cola and Fiji Water today provided additional sponsorship for the competition by way of drinks and refreshment for the tournament.
Over 7,000 serves of Powerade will be provided for over the 209 games. It's most welcoming, and we want to thank you and the team. We also want to thank you for also providing refreshments for the 350 officials who will be officiating over the 2 days.
The Mara Sevens will be held at the ANZ Stadium this Friday and Saturday. Overseas cricket clubs have expressed their interest to play the Fiji Under-19 team. This after the Fijians qualified for the Under-19 World Cup last week. Cricket Fiji High Performance Manager Joe Rika says the players will need such opportunities to prepare well for next year's World Cup.
We've already been offered a few spots in Blenheim, where we came back from, and this is opportunities that the boys will have to take up. We've got a good standard of cricket here in the country, but to go and play overseas is what is going to be a major key for us moving into the World Cup and hopefully being successful.
The Under-19 World Cup will be played in Bangladesh next year. Paradise Beverages Fiji has come on board to help the Nasinu Netball Association. The beverage company handed over a check of $10,000 to the association today. The money will be used for preparations and participation in the Super League, as well as developing its age group teams. Meanwhile, the Digital Punjab Super League ranking points tournament first round will be held this Saturday in Lautoka, while competition proper begins a week later. Veteran Fijian international Sermayan Bai continues to impress for the Leicester Tigers in the English Premiership rugby competition. Bai scored a try in the Tigers' 28-8 win over the Sale Sharks over the weekend. The Cricket World Cup resumed today after taking a break yesterday. There is one match being played, and you can catch the highlights of this match on FBC TV tomorrow at 2 p.m. That was your sports for this evening. It's back to Jackie now with business.
The Agriculture Ministry has handed over $500,000 to the Finance Ministry. Minister for Finance, Ayaz Said Qayyum, received the cheque today as part of surplus from the Agriculture Ministry's trading and manufacturing account. Minister Eniseru Ratu says the money will be used to improve the lives of Fijians.
Majority of our people that live in rural areas are still living in poverty, and for them their livelihood is agriculture. We fix agriculture, we fix poverty in Fiji, and that is the challenge for us. And be assured that we will create that impact. We will change the livelihoods of the people, and we will transform Fiji's rural sector and of course agriculture.
Agriculture accounts for 18% of gross domestic product in Fiji. Brief showers was experienced over the eastern parts of the larger islands. Isolated afternoon showers and thunderstorms was experienced elsewhere. A trough of low pressure remains slow-moving over Solomons and extends southwards over New Caledonia. Meanwhile, another trough of low pressure affects Tuvalu, Tokelau, Northern Cooks and French Polynesia. Maximum temperatures were recorded in the 30s again today. It was 32 degrees in Mombasa, while Bar notched 34. Forecast to midnight tomorrow, a few showers over the interior and eastern parts of the larger islands. Elsewhere, fine apart from afternoon or evening showers. Isolated afternoon or evening thunderstorms with heavy falls expected. Thursday's outlook, brief showers over the interior and eastern parts of the larger islands. Elsewhere, afternoon or evening showers and thunderstorms. And recapping our main stories again. Prime Minister tells the UN Council that indigenous rights are protected in Fiji. Heroin import suspects plead not guilty, and FBC joins the search for Fiji's new flag. This week's poll question we're asking, is Fiji progressing well in women's empowerment? Visit our FBC website to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply hashtag FBC News. That's news for tonight. Join us again at the same time tomorrow. Good evening.
घर संसार में आपका स्वागत है। आपका अपना छोटा सा स्वर, जहाँ प्यार भरे रिश्ते पलते हैं, जहाँ हेल्थी रहने की सलाह दी जाती है, जहाँ हम आपको और भी सुंदर बनाते हैं और जहाँ स्वाद की सौगात भी है। नमस्कार, मैं हूँ पल्लवी। सोमवार से शुक्रवार 9 से 12 तक रेडियो Fiji 2 देश की धड़कन पर घर संसार में शामिल रहिए मेरे साथ।
ऐसा सुंदर सपना अपना